Hey there everyone, it is 80 here once again with another game of StarCraft 2. This will be a best of 3 series between the Orange Terran, ThisIsJimmy, and his purple Protoss opponent, just Ddoro at this point. And this will be from the semifinals of the SQS-WTR1BE June Masters Tournament hosted by WTR1BE Gaming. I will post all of that information down in the description below if you guys are interested. Please go check that out, and then you might be able to submit your name into the next tournament. And who knows, it might be you that I'm casting in the semifinals next time. This tournament does have a $200 prize pool, so whoever wins this series will move on to the finals and be guaranteed at least some share of that money. But the loser of this series will have to fight in that third place game to try to win some money, and if they lose that game as well, then they unfortunately leave this tournament empty-handed as far as money goes. But more about these players. This is Jimmy, the Orange Terran. His real name is Jimmy Van Size. He is a member of Czech 6 Gaming, and he's ranked first in the Banshee Epsilon division of the Masters League in North America with a 54% win rate. His opponent, the purple Protoss, Ddoro, is a Canadian pro gamer whose real name is Moon Jung Ho, a Korean name, with affiliations to Vile Gaming now. He used to be in Root Gaming and then, of course, moved to Complexity during that whole acquisition deal, but then decided to leave for his own reasons and now is a member of Vile Gaming. He's ranked 39th in the Dropship Alpha Division of the Masters League with a 72% win rate for our Protoss. So these players will be duking out today in this best of 3 series. Once again, the semifinals of the the SQS-WTR1BE June Masters Tournament. This game number 1 will be played on GSL Dual Site, and if you guys aren't unfamiliar with this map, let me walk through the finer details of it. Your main base connects with a ramp down right into your natural expansion, a pretty normal 2 geyser and 8 mineral patch expansion. And then your third base is just a little bit over to the side. Same deal pretty much. Both standard 8 mineral patches and 2 geysers once again. And in the bottom right and the top left, there are gold expansions to be taken. So we'll see if that comes into play later in today's game. And also just one more 4th base on your half of the map. This is a 2-player map. So these 2 players already know exactly where their opponent has spawned, as these 2 are the only possible main bases for players on this map. There are watchtowers here in the middle. Looks like this watchtower actually is not fully integrated into the game schematics, I suppose. A unit/name/Zelnaka Tower 2. By the way, this map is created by LS Prime, giving due credit where it is deserved. And one great thing that I love about this map, if you look around the outskirts, the top right is basically lava below the cliff, and in the bottom left there is like air with some trees and cliffs, so it's really lovely to look at. Obviously this game is balanced and symmetrical in terms of gameplay, as we see a Reaper popping out from this Tech Lab barracks for ThisIsJimmy, but it is just really, really pretty, as it is very, very much asymmetrical in terms of aesthetics beyond the player's bases, past where these cliffs end. It just looks really pretty, and there is this waterfall here around the middle of the map. So this this map is really, really nice. Due credit to LS Prime for making a very beautiful map and keeping it very, very nice to look at, because of course StarCraft is so much more fun to cast when the map itself is also wonderful, in addition to the players at the top of their game entertaining us as well. This first Reaper has popped and is going to be going to the watchtower here in the middle of the map, so we'll have to keep an eye on that if it does make it to the Protoss player's base and do some damage. The Protoss, meanwhile, just now getting Warp Gate underway, going to be chrono boosting that, I assume. Trying to get that research up as soon as possible. So the pretty standard play for our Protoss, pretty normal opening. A command center being built down here at the base of Jimmy's main. Looks like that is right over halfway done. This Reaper going to be actually turning around and deciding it is not worth it to jump into this Stalker, as the Stalker is just going to be running around there, making sure that it can get some sort of advanced warning in case this Reaper does jump up there. But it looks like ThisIsJimmy is actually deciding to turn that around and fly it back, or walk it, whatever the verb is for a Reaper, back to that watchtower down there. The Nexus at the natural is just now underway for Ddoro as well. Looks like he took out that scouting SCV with this 1 Sentry 2 probe, very formidable army. This command center just now finishing inside Jimmy's base, going to be making that an orbital, and then I assume flying it down to his natural in short order. Taking that SCV and making a bunker down here at his natural just to make sure it is well defended once he decides to take it in earnest. And looks like the Stalker is actually just patrolling back and forth, trying desperately to make sure it sees the Reaper if it does indeed decide to hop up into the base. 2 more gates going up, and Warp Gate is about to be finished inside Ddoro's Cybercore, so he will be happy about that. This Reaper consigned to just sitting there at the watchtower, so very sad that he did not get to lob any of his D8 charges into any probes' faces. Maybe next time for that Reaper, maybe in game number 2, but unfortunately does not look like he will be able to do too much damage here in the first game. This bunker finishing, and these 4 Marines huddling all around, so very anxious to get in there. Looks like a second and now third bunker also going to be put up as well. This command center just now landing inside the natural expansion. The Nexus has popped inside Ddoro's natural, and probes transferring very nicely. Going to be starting that saturation. Let's take a look at that income tab. A 4 harvester advantage, now 3 for Ddoro, but of course with those mules, Jimmy is enjoying a pretty nice lead in the minerals per minute race. I'm a little curious, let's take a look at that APM tab. It is 166 for Ddoro and 101 for Jimmy, so both very up there in triple digits. Very, very, very impressive for both of these players. Once again, this is the first game of a best of 3 series, and by the way, this is the semifinals of the W Tribe June Masters Tournament, and if you win this, you move on to the finals, of course. That's what a semifinals is, and you will be guaranteed some money out of that prize pool. So these players trying to do their best because there is some money on the line for the winner. And the loser runs the risk of possibly losing that third place game and not getting any money at all, no fruits for their labor, so to speak. In the meantime, there are 3 bunkers here to defend the natural expansion, so that will be very nicely defended until much later in the game, as right now there are only 5 sentries in terms of army units, and then there's 1 stalker here at the watchtower for Ddoro, so it will be a while before this expansion down here is in any danger of being attacked with any sort of effectiveness. So he's definitely playing pretty defensive right here, making sure it is well defended for the early to mid game, definitely. Looks like a starport being constructed inside Jimmy's base as well. This factory making a reactor, but I assume he's going to be swapping that factory and the starport around. Looks like very standard MMM play coming out of Jimmy's camp at this point. This tech lab is going to be researching combat shields. Already just finished stim pack as well. So he's going to be getting those Marines and Marauders on the ground, and then getting some medevacs in the air to support. And our Protoss player is doing the standard response of getting a Robo Bay and then going to be making some Colossi as well. That was some seriously nice timing from Ddoro right there, finishing that Observer exactly almost when the Robo Bay came online. So the first Colossus is being produced, and now the pressure is on Jimmy to pick the right time in terms of when he wants to cut medevac production and start Vikings, because of course every medevac you can squeeze out in this early portion of the game will make your army that much more formidable and allow those units to survive and heal from, say, stim packs or from the direct damage dealt to them by this Protoss force. So each medevac you can get at this point will be worth its weight in gold. And unfortunately, though, if you get too many medevacs at this point, then the Colossi just kind of run right over you and rain down fiery destruction all over your unit's faces. So it's a delicate balance between when you want medevacs and when you want Vikings. Looks like Jimmy is going to be deciding to cut medevac production right at 2 and going right into that Viking production. So a little bit early, if I'm completely honest, because 2 medevacs really isn't all that much, and only 1 Colossus on the field right now, so he doesn't need that many Vikings. But I am not one to question Masters League players, so we'll have to wait and see if this works out for Jimmy, if he chose the right moment to cut medevacs and start with that Viking production. This medevac looks like it's just going to be dropping and reloading units, just practicing for when it really matters, because of course in the heat of battle you don't want to press the wrong button as that medevac pilot, and she will just want to make sure that she's on top of her game. You want to be ready to drop and retake units into her medevac as quickly as possible. Looks like these units are going to be stimming and running over here, displacing that stalker and taking over this watchtower. So that was a pretty effective run there, but they will have to be healed from their recent drug use. Thermal Lance is about to be finished for these Colossi, and more Colossi on as well with that weapons level 1. So these Colossi will be very, very powerful when that weapons level 1 finishes with that 9 range thanks to Thermal Lance and 2 attacks per round. They will be fairly devastating. So this medevac will have work cut out for her if those units meet the unfortunate assignment of fighting some Colossi. However, Jimmy is getting quite a few Vikings at this point, as he's already going to be making 2 more as well. So he is not relenting at all in the Viking production, going to be ensuring that when the battle does happen, those Vikings are plenty enough in number to take out all of these Colossi for our Protoss player. 1 attack for those Marines and Marauders just now coming online as well for Jimmy. So he will be just a little bit behind in the upgrades battle, but not too far behind in the grand scheme of things, while our Protoss player is getting, looks like 3 more gates inside his base, so he will be up to 6 gates into his main, and that is actually all he has. None over here, but he is going to be taking his 3rd base as well, a little bit sooner than Jimmy. So what is this over here? It looks like a Reaper. So if this Reaper just, walked over here and was able to spot this expansion, that would be great for Jimmy. But unfortunately, that Reaper not doing much of anything, just chilling in the top left of the map, as these Terrians will be able to snipe this pylon with the medevac spotting the high ground for them. So that pylon does go away, but Ddoro fully on top of his macro, nowhere near getting supply blocks despite the loss of that original pylon. Looks like this SCV is going to be prepared to take this expansion as well, so Jimmy will be a little bit behind in the expansion war, but will be surely caught up. About halfway done is that Nexus warping as Jimmy starts with his own command center down here at the bottom right. Looks like armor level 1 for those ground forces being researched by our protest player. The Reaper will find the third expansion and get some verification of its existence, or at least he saw the pylon. I'm not sure if he technically saw the Nexus, but I mean, this pylon is more than enough of an indication, what I'm trying to say, that the expansion there is taken.